So, do you guys actually believe that prices are going to come down? The reason I'm asking you is because we are seeing sales slow down and inventory continue to rise. So, what's the next logical step, guys? Prices to come down. But they're not. Well, not that much anyways. Let me explain. This is our midweek market update. It is February 26, 2025. Now, between last week and this week, we saw inventory increase. Big surprise, right? This is basically the talk I have with you guys every week. But 4.5%, which is about 881 units. I think last week we were 3% over the week before, so a little bit more inventory added on this week. If I compare it to last year, we basically have 55.5% more inventory. That's right. So it's about 7,300 more units available this year than we had last year. If I look at it from January 1st to today, we have added over 5,500 units, which is 37%. I want to note this, okay? So last year, from the beginning of this year, from the beginning of last year to Feb 26, last year, we only added 3.1% inventory. So very minimum inventory compared to right now, 37%, okay? Now, another factor of price obviously is, well, we talked about supply. Now we're gonna talk about sales, but the sales are down too. So about 20% across the board, the sales are down right now, which is about 2,000 houses, 1,954. The only thing I can note here is from last week to this week, we saw the only increase was in Halton region, which was about 1.2%, which is insignificant because the week before that was terrible. And they year to date are down, 33%. So no big deal. But now that we've talked about the supply and the sales, I'm going to tell you quickly about price, okay? So the average price right now is up 5.9%, which is about $62,500 across the GTA. And that's just week over week, okay? I don't really take too much into week over week because, if we have a big sale in a certain region, it could swing the numbers quite a bit. But if I look at the 52-week high average, we are down about 2%. Now, that's about $24,000. This is why I started asking at the beginning of this segment is, do you believe that prices are going to come down? Because what's really going to happen over here? We're seeing the inventory increase. How much more is it going to increase? And we're not seeing the sales pick up as to where they even were last year. I mean, last year we did have a strong start at the same time. So, and that strong start kind of stayed around until like mid-March-ish. So, are we going to kind of see this thing even out or get ahead in the next few months because the weather is getting better and whatnot? I'm not sure, but one of two things is going to happen is either we're going to start to see everything even out because I don't really see the prices increasing that much this year. If they may a little bit, but overall, I think that we'll probably either see the prices go up slightly or stabilize, or we're probably going to see them come down if we continue to see this trend of inventory continuing to come to the market. Now, the other interesting thing over here for me is that why is this actually happening? This kind of tells me that, hey, people are not that desperate to sell. They have holding power at the same time. Because if you're seeing that much more inventory on the market and the sales coming down by 20% across the board, and yet you haven't seen the prices slip, that kind of indicates that people are not that desperate. I do think that this could be a buying opportunity. And one personal example I want to give you guys is that, almost 20 years or over 20 years ago, I bought my first condo, which was in 2004, and I bought it for $116,000. And if I look at that same building, I did an analysis right now, and I put like 5% down payment on it. And what I would be net out with right now, if I just continue to pay at that 5 points, would be around $350,000. So if I took a look at my $10,000 investment versus what I'm getting out at the end of this whole thing was like over 19% return. Now, this game is a long-term game. I know in in the past few years, we've seen them kind of climb up really, high in terms of average prices going up, anywhere between 10, 15, 20. In certain areas, we even saw 40 or 50% increase year over year. But obviously, that's not going to happen. But if I look at it against 20 years, and almost any long period of time I've looked at, we've seen the appreciation at about 7%. I've looked at it as far as back as like almost 100 years. We've seen about 7% on average. Even if I look at numbers at like 3 or 4% return, it still seems to be worth it to invest long-term in real estate. So where's the opportunity today? I think that the opportunity today could be for people looking to get into the market. Like if you're a first-time home buyer sitting on the sideline, I'm not saying that maybe it's not going to go down a bit, but if I'm looking at needing shelter and I'm looking at getting into the market, it's almost impossible to kind of time the market. But if I look at the average again over the long period of time, it really does seem like a safe bet. So even if I look at the appreciation on that unit that I had at 7% year over year, but the amount of cash that I'm putting in and the asset value is a lot higher. So instead of seeing a 7% appreciation, that's just on price. But what is my return on the money invested, which was 19%, over 19%. So I want to know from you guys, if you're sitting on the sideline as a first-time home buyer, are you still waiting for the prices to come down? Or are you looking at getting into the market right now and holding it for a long term? Or do you still feel like you're going to be able to buy something right now and flip it for a higher amount in the next 2 to 3 or 4 years? I'm interested to know what you guys think and what you guys are thinking is going to happen in terms of price in this market.